Welcome back. So, for over a week, I've been posting topics that I've had on my LinkedIn page, trying to bring some of those topics to my other social media pages because they're a little bit different. Most of what I post on the majority of my sites are quality related with some leadership and safety and some other topics sprinkled in, but on LinkedIn, I talk about some other things more focused on leadership. Leadership is important in order to have quality in a company. So without leadership support, you're not going to have that quality culture, that safety culture, the culture you need to be successful for your customer and your clients. So that's why I focus a lot on leadership in various aspects of it, because they have a profound impact on in all companies. So I've been working over 30 years. About half of that has been in a leadership role. I've had good leaders, I've had bad, I've had some in between. I like to consider myself a good leader. I would leave that up to my employees to determine and speak on. But it's important that anyone who gets in a leadership role understands that it's still a team effort. And a lot of times when they get into a leadership role, it's about them and not about the team. So folks need to understand when they get into that position, they need to still be open-minded, communicate, still be willing to learn. That's very important. Oftentimes, when people get to either a certain position or a certain age, they think, well, I got nothing else to learn, and that's not true. We should be learning as much as possible throughout our life. It also keeps us mentally engaged the older we get as well. But those that are interested in getting into a leadership role, just remember that just because you don't have a title doesn't mean you can't be a leader. I had a boss a number of years ago that basically told everyone you're a leader. It didn't really matter what title you had. You were a leader. You have the ability and the responsibility to do the best you can, and have your team do the best they can, work together to accomplish what you need to accomplish for your customer or your client. So oftentimes folks will say, well, it's not my title, I'm not getting paid for it. Oftentimes I know the world is a little bit different now than it was when I was growing up, but you have to kind of put yourself out there in order to get promoted most of the time in most companies. I know that's the big thing right now is doing extra work for free. Why should I come in early, stay late, do this, that, and the other, which is true, and I agree to a certain point. But if you're not willing to step up at least a little bit to show that you have that initiative, that drive, that interest, you probably won't get promoted in most companies out there. So it's a balancing act. It's something that everyone has to individually look at in their given area where they're working. I'll just say that to those out there that make things difficult for their employees, I would hope that you learn lessons and listen to your employees. And oftentimes, there's the saying out there that folks don't leave jobs, they leave bosses. If you've got a high turnover in your area, that might be telling you something without telling you directly. So look at it. I see it happen too often where leaders don't see that, they don't understand that. We've got multiple generations of people in the workplace right now that each have their own mindset, and it's a challenge to get that all working in the same direction sometimes. But the one thing that COVID kind of showed a lot of folks is that the old way of doing things is not the only way. There's other ways to do business in a lot of fields out there, and companies and leaders have to learn that and be flexible to be successful for the customer, for the client, but also for the employees who make the company successful. This has happened in the past. It's not just a new deal, but when companies, especially large ones, lay off a lot of people, which they've been doing recently and they've done many times in the past, you lose the employees' respect, their interest, their devotion, anything really that pertains to what a culture should have, because they see that you can just get rid of me at a moment's notice. Doesn't matter how many years you've been on the job, how successful you've been, you're still making, in some cases, billions of dollars a year, but you don't need these 30,000 people. So now they have to go out and find jobs to survive. So loyalty, of course, is a two-way street. Just like a lot of things are two-way streets, and that's not always out there. It's not always seen in a lot of cases. Feels oftentimes by the employees that everything is one way. And in a lot of cases, it's true, which is something I think that companies and leaders need to work on. But the last few years of that, it's not a recent phenomenon. That's been happening for a very long time. But I'll give the younger generations credit that they're looking around and they're seeing that they want to have a good life. And in the past, in a lot of cases, we didn't really have, and still may not have, that good work-life balance out there. We only have one life. We should be able to enjoy it. And again, we all need money to survive out there in most cases. We need to work for our families to support them. But we should also want to try to enjoy life as much as possible in any way we can. And again, a lot of times leadership in companies want people to be available all the time, any time of the day. In certain positions, that may be the case, especially in emergency type situations. Doctors, as an example. But there's times you got to put down the phone, close the computer, spend time with your family. If you're by yourself, relax. Do something that you enjoy. It's not always, shouldn't always be about work. It's easy to get stressed out. A lot of people, including myself, have high tempo jobs. It's go, 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 go all day long with very little break. And, it'll wear you out. So you have to look at how you handle stress. When is your breaking point? How can you relax? It's not always easy. Sometimes you gotta step away. Otherwise, your health might be affected. All right. So, hopefully, over the last week plus of these topics, you've taken something positive out of it. You can always leave comments in any of the videos I do. All right.